Hi everyone, so patch 2.05, the mid-season patch for season 6 has just gone live, and I was there to try it out directly when it went live, and oh boy, there are some pretty interesting little things in there that we didn't know about before. First things first, you can see this here right now, you get a lot of cinders in Helltide right now when you spawn the Blood Maiden, so for some reason it just spawns like 700 cinders or something like that. That seems obviously intended, but for now this is how it works. And well, use it while it lasts, I guess. If you're a Helltide enjoyer or you just want to farm a bunch of living steel, or maybe the new Gillian's Brew, the new elixir that is part of the mid-winter event for a while, well, you can get it here pretty easily, at least. So good luck with that. I also tried out this boost that you get for your Eternal characters. So this is something that I went in to see. So you basically get exactly what they said. You have like a selection of 3 different builds per class that you make. So there's like, I don't have the exact list, but there's usually like, some different archetypes. Like here on the sword, you can see there's like 1 lightning, 1 fire, 1 cold build and stuff like that. For Necros, it's like 1 minion build, 1 bone build, and so on. So that's kind of how that works. And you can just choose it, click it, and it will instantly boost you to level 50. You have a bunch of items equipped. I did that later on and tried it out here in this moment. So you just click it and then boom, you're level 50. Now keep in mind, you can only do this on softcore Eternal, not on hardcore. So previously I was under the impression this would work, and there would be hardcore Eternal, and then people can get the boost, get all the altars, and then just be done with that. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. For some reason that seems to be intentional, and I guess for people that wanted to try out hardcore, bad news. So I'm kind of sad about this. As a hardcore enjoyer myself, I was hoping we'd see a bit of an influx of new, like fresh blood basically coming into hardcore. Well, I guess that basically takes the wind out of the sails for many people, because the old school players have all their altars, at least on softcore anyway. Okay, it's intended for like, the welcome back thing, but if you're welcoming back people, most of them will have the altars anyway, I guess. So I'm not really sure what this is gonna do, unless it will be for hardcore players. But yeah, unfortunately it doesn't work on hardcore. Other than that, you get like a, I don't know, I haven't really tried many builds. I tried one. It seemed like an okay build to me. I was able to like just blast for like, let's say, hard difficulty, maybe expert on some of the better ones. So as I said, I don't really know what's out there for every class, since I only used 1 boost, but it seemed fairly decently put together, at least, let's say. So you can kind of just take that and go from there and, start blasting basically, and that's the idea, I guess. There's also one other big thing that I wanted to try out that I was very optimistic about before the patch launched, and now that I have seen it, I'm actually not so much impressed with it, which is the Neo rune. This is one of the like offering generation runes, the top ones, that says like if you don't take damage for 2 seconds, then you generate 200 offering. And this was changed to now say avoid taking health damage for 2 seconds, and then you get 200 offering. Well, this sounded like there was actually a functional change that would make it work with barriers, which previously didn't work and still doesn't work. So even if you have a barrier and you take a hit, it will interrupt the 2-second timer and you will not get like, permanent lots of offering. So I was hoping some builds will be able to use that, but it looks like this will remain something for like ultra speed farming builds, mostly range builds, I guess. And maybe for Sorgs where you have Flame Shield, you can use that a bit more reliably, but that's it. You can do some funny stuff like this here, for example, where I was just kind of like standing AFK at the target dummy. So it does work in some cases like that, where, we have like an ongoing damage effect. So this was here with me just being AFK, standing there, trying out a new Pestilent Swarm rune here, which looks kind of interesting as well. So maybe you can do something with that on a Spiritborn. But again, this is kind of like a target dummy situation here where we don't get interrupted. But who knows, maybe there's going to be some other funny stuff you can do with those runes. I also tried out some of the buffed builds. So starting with the Spiritborn, I did like just one run real quick to see how it feels. I was already playing Razor Wings Spiritborn, so this is one of the buffed builds. It got a nice like little base damage buff. And for now, it's actually a relatively solid build. I'm not really sure where this will land once, all the Spiritborn bugs are fixed. I don't think it's really gonna have like a lot of potential right now. And I would hope for, some improvements, some new unique item, or maybe something like that for the future for this build. But for now, that's actually a fairly interesting build. If you like some kind of like Hammerden-like playstyle, we have this available here. I'll actually make a full video about this very soon. And as you can see here, I can easily blast for like hundreds, for example, and this is, far from optimized. Half my items are like masterwork to 8, and it's just something I kind of made real quick with my character here. But it has been working relatively well. If you're looking for something different, then I do have the planner. I can link that already. And as I mentioned, a video is coming for this if you want to play this. I also tried out the buffed Mighty Throw. So in general, Barb has been lifted up quite a bit. And we can see this here right now. This is a relatively scuffed setup. I didn't even do the temper yet on this build, but Barb in general just got a bunch of buffs that already make it stronger. And even without anything, you get like a little bit of an effect here. So I haven't really pushed with this, but I know that this is one of the strongest builds out there that is not a Spiritborn. In fact, before the patch, I think the highest clear was like 125 pit with Mighty Throw. So I expect that to actually go up a few tiers now. Maybe we're gonna see something like 130 from a non-Spiritborn class with Mighty Throw. But this is also thanks to like a lot of snapshotting and some bugs that are going on there that make it quite powerful. So it's not on the same level as like the Spiritborn bugs, but this skill in particular has a bunch of, really wonky mechanics at least that might get addressed in Season 7. I guess we hear about it on the campfire chat if there's any fixes to those. But right now, this is still like by far the best Barb build out there, and potentially by far the best build out there, especially post Spiritborn fixes in Season 7, if nothing is done to whatever is plaguing Mighty Throw. But for now, it is a really strong build if you want to play something else. And well, we also have a guide for this on Maxwell, for example, from Snail, who has a superb version of Mighty Throw there. I also went in and tried out the much anticipated Twisting Blades buff. This is a much beloved build for many old school rogue players, including myself. I've been playing and trying Twisting Blades pretty much every single season, and right now it seems like it's, really the strongest it has ever been, pretty much. At least if we look at absolute damage numbers. But you can easily blast through anything Torment 4 with this with a non-optimized setup. Here I'm playing my poison version that I have been cooking a bit lately, and I will also release a video on this very soon, and I'll probably do some tweaks on the planner a little bit with the learnings that I had since this patch went live. But I expect you're gonna see something of like upwards of 110 plus pits with Twisting Blades. So this is how strong that build is right now. It was already clearing beyond 100 before the patch, and it got actually pretty massive buffs in the range of something like ×3 or so in overall damage output. So Twisting Blades is definitely a top contender on the rogue class, especially for high-end pits. It also doesn't have such a dependency on like ad bosses, like the precision-based builds, for example, if you're looking for something that is not so fishing heavy, let's say, on the higher end with RNG. And it's just really nice to play some old school Twisting Blades again. And my setup here is very unoptimized still. I had actually 2 glyphs that were nearly level 1 since I didn't level them before I respected this. And I can like blast through Torment 4 content no problem. And I also expect we're gonna get to the point where I speed farm something like 80s or higher and like sub 2 minutes on this. So I will have a full video on this, plus potentially an update, since I'm planning to play this quite a bit in the next few days, and then we'll see what comes out of this. So those are kind of the most important pieces of information that I have gathered so far from this patch. Beyond the patch notes, I have a full breakdown of the patch notes from a few days ago. You can go check that out. Since I already uploaded that, I'm not gonna reiterate everything. But with the patch actually going live, there's always a bit of RNG of how things are actually working, as we just saw with, for example, the Helltide here. Turns out a lot of class buffs. I guess the Sorks got kind of the short end of the stick here. They did get a pretty big buffs to especially Incinerate, also to Meteor, and those were very, very bad builds, and I don't think they really lifted up to like the meta level. So Sork is generally behind the other classes, I would say, but everyone else is actually looking really strong. Including Druids, including Barbs. Necros were already really powerful, Rogues were pretty good, and now are even better. So every class has gotten quite a lot here, besides the Sorks, I'd say, for at least their meta builds. So yeah, for now, that's what I got here. Let me know what else you found that I didn't include now that might be like some new or interesting information of what wasn't covered in Campfire or the patch notes. But I will also keep you guys posted with whatever else I find. I want to do some more build testing. I got interrupted at some point with just servers being laggy a bit and us getting DC'd a bunch of times. So I called it for the night at some point, and I will do more stuff. I have some more rogue stuff planned. I want to do a Sork at some point as well in the next days. So let's see how that will go. And for that, I also have kind of my first summary of the mid-season patch. Also, stay tuned for the update on Thursday. We're going to get the Season 7 Campfire chat. Hopefully with the patch notes, but at the very least, we're going to see what's coming. We're going to see the big changes in Season 7, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about then. So stay tuned for some more uploads. And with that, I'm going to leave you. Hope you enjoyed my summary here, and I'll see you guys next time.